Good afternoon, everyone. We're getting very excited of the Eternal Companion, and I think did I announce that our next book will be for Seekers of God? So you all have a chance to find it in your library or get one. Today we're starting on page 271 at the top of the page in my edition. He's talking to, I believe, Swami Brahmananda at this point, and to other young monks in Bellarmine. You have embraced the monastic life, renouncing everything. It does not become you to try to exercise authority over others. That brings great bondage. Whatever you do, know that it is the Lord's work you are doing. Look upon everything and everybody as belonging to Sri Ramakrishna. Being deluded by ignorance, by egotism, man thinks himself to be the doer. To tell a lie is the greatest sin. A drunkard or a man who frequents houses of ill fame may be trusted, but never a liar. It is the blackest of sins. Never find fault or criticize others. Such a habit is harmful to yourself. By thinking continually of the evil of others, the evil will impress itself upon your own mind, and the good that is in you will be overshadowed. Play with God. Sing His glory. Enjoy fun. Why should you criticize others? Associate with everybody freely. Be happy with them. Do not indulge in gossip. Only a wicked-hearted man busies himself finding fault with others. Keep yourselves pure and go forward, following your own ideal. Learn to see the good in others. If a man has some goodness, exaggerate his goodness in your mind. Give honor to all, praise all. Do this, and sympathy for others will grow. He himself is honored who honors all beings. Never run down a fellow man or slight him. Everyone sees the fault in others. Give him your love, make him your own, and help him to overcome his weaknesses. A man is composed of both good and evil. It is easy to see the evil in others. But a holy man is one who can overlook their evil qualities and help them to become pure and holy. Remember, my children, you are holy men. You must always be calm, gentle, modest, and kindly of speech. Goodness must flow through every word you utter, every action you perform, through all your behavior and movements. I bless you, my children, that whatsoever associates with you will find, that whosoever associates with you will find peace of heart. The sleeping God will awaken within them. What are the spiritual disciplines? Always be truthful, be self-controlled, watch your speech, envy no one, hate no one, be jealous of no one. Practice chastity. If one remains continent for 12 years, he attains the highest. It is wise to go occasionally to places of pilgrimage and live there for some time. The holy atmosphere and change of scenery are aids to the health of the body and mind. These places are also conducive to meditation. The heart must be purified. The world is full of pitfalls. Effort must be your motto if you want to grow spiritually. Keep watch over every small desire which arises and control it. Strengthen the will, and everything else will be simple. Question. Maharaj, some days when I sit to meditate, my mind naturally becomes tranquil. Again, On other days, it becomes so restless that I cannot calm it no matter how I try. That is truly the play of the gunas. The mind is subject to all three gunas. When the sattva becomes established through practice, the mind will always remain tranquil. You see, there is an ebb and flow in the tide of the Ganges. In the same way, there are ups and downs in everything. Meditation also has its ebb and flow. Is only in the early stage, however. Do not trouble about it. Stick to your practices. When you have practiced regularly for some time, there will no longer be any ebb and flow in the mind. There will be a smooth, unobstructed current flowing toward God. Whenever you feel the predominance of sattva and your mind is tranquil, leave your work and engage yourself in the practice of jopam and meditation. At each place of pilgrimage, there is a special time when the special spiritual current flows. If at those times an aspirant meditates, his mind easily becomes absorbed and he finds increased joy in his meditation. Question: But Maharaj, how does one know that time? It is not difficult. A man who practices meditation can very easily recognize it. Benares, it seems to be apart from the world. It is a place of mighty spiritual consciousness. If a man lives there and practices spiritual disciplines, he quickly gets results. The mantram, the seed word, unfolds there with little effort on the part of the aspirant. Here, Vishwanath, the Lord of the universe, gives liberation to everyone, whether he be a saint or a sinner, rich or poor, great or small. Maharaj asked the young monk, do you pray or meditate? No, Maharaj. It is good to devote a little time each day to God. The only way to control the mind and find peace is to chant the name of God and meditate on him. Please tell me how to meditate. Meditate upon God within the shrine of your heart, or visualize him present before you. Worship him mentally. Just as the ritualistic worshiper offers flowers and waves incense and lights before the deity in the temple, so should you offer all the articles of worship mentally to the living presence enshrined within your heart. Do not waste any more time. Begin this very day. Practice jopam and meditation once in the morning and once in the evening for at least 2 years. You will find great joy. Spiritual emotions will arise. A new vision will open up. You are sure to find some result in 2 years. Some succeed even in a year. Stick to it. After a while, you will find such joy that you will have no inclination to leave your meditation. Get yourself a new seat and use it only for your meditation. Sit straight, keep the right hand over the left with the palms up. Hold your hands near the center of your body, in the region of the heart. Read sacred scriptures. When you sit down to meditate, do not begin the practice immediately. Finish all alien thoughts and make the mind blank. Then start your meditation. For the first few years, the struggle is hard. Afterward, it becomes easy. If a day comes when you have a lot of work to do, you may meditate only once, or you may finish in 10 or 15 minutes. If the pressure of work is very great, fix your mind on God for a moment, then bow down to him and close your meditation. You can do this in exceptional cases, but not always. Before meditation, wash your hands and face. Observe the 2 following rules for moral conduct. Speak the truth and look upon all women as incarnations of the Divine Mother. Now he's speaking to male monastics. So make the adjustment if you're a woman. Look upon men as divine. If you do these two things, you will find all other moral rules are easy to follow. Devote yourself to God. God is. Do not doubt his existence. I'm telling you, my child, God is. Know for certain that he is. Question. Maharaj, there are some who meditate in the shrine of the heart, and others who meditate on the 1,000-petaled lotus in the brain, but I like to meditate externally. I try to see my chosen ideal just as I'm seeing you. Which is the proper way? Meditation differs according to the individual temperament of the aspirant. As a general rule, the best way to meditate is to meditate in the shrine of the heart. Consider the body as the temple and see the Lord installed there. However, when once the mind becomes steady through meditation, then the aspirant can think of God either at his side, or behind him, or in his heart, or anywhere else. When the mind becomes absorbed, a shining light is first experienced in the mystic vision. With this vision, there comes a kind of higher and nobler joy, and the mind is reluctant to give up this joy and move forward. But if the aspirant goes further, the vision of light will be concentrated into the form of the chosen ideal, and the mind becomes merged in his consciousness. Sometimes again, in his mystic experience, the aspirant may hear the long drawn-out sacred word Om, and his mind becomes absorbed in that. There is no end to mystic visions and experiences. The more you advance, the more you realize that the realm of spiritual experience is unbounded, infinite. There are some who think that they have already attained God if they see a radiant light. Do not be deluded in this way. You must attain nirvikalpa samadhi, where all consciousness of duality is obliterated. Some say that state is the end of spiritual experiences, but I believe it is the beginning. Question. It often happens that the mind, after making some progress, cannot advance further. Why is this so? That is the weakness of the mind. The mind is limited by its capacity. All do not have the same mental power that can be developed. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that the power of the mind becomes strengthened by the practice of continence. A mind so strengthened is not overcome by lust and anger. Passions seem trivial to it. In the path of spiritual progress, many obstacles may arise. Hence, evil, subtle influences may hinder your growth. Hence, mudras and Buddha Shuti and other similar practices are prescribed in the ritualistic worship. Question again. You call each one of us to you and inquire about our spiritual progress and our difficulties. You always give us new courage and enthusiasm, Maharaj. Answer. But you see, I'm not always in the same mood. Sometimes I feel like entreating and imploring you to go on with your spiritual practices. Again, at other times, I see that the Lord is everywhere, is everything. The Lord is the cause, the Lord is the doer, the Lord is the instrument, and the Lord is the deed. He is all and everything. I see the Lord playing in so many forms. Then who am I to give instruction? Why should people accept my words? But you know, my child, that when the inspiration comes from the Lord, they do accept my words and follow them. Is grace conditional? Sri Ramakrishna used to say that the breeze of grace is always blowing, but you have to unfurl your sail. He would also say, when it is hot, one needs a fan, but the moment a cool breeze comes, you stop fanning. How does one know whether a man is having true mystic experiences or hallucinations? The true spiritual vision brings a lasting bliss, and the mind is aware of the truth of the vision. What is the real function of mudras and other rituals in formal worship? Rituals are great aids in the beginning of spiritual life. They help to remove many external influences which hinder an aspirant's progress. You will notice sometimes that as you go to meditate, your mind is tranquil. Within a few minutes, however, the mind is made restless by evil thoughts. I had to suffer at one time from such influences. Sri Ramakrishna watched me from a distance and knew my condition. He approached me and said, "I see that something is disturbing you." He wrote something on my tongue and uttered some words inaudibly. After that, I was immediately free from the disturbing state. If, however, the aspirant has advanced, these influences do not touch him. Isn't it difficult to live a purely contemplative life? Do not give up because it seems hard. Try again and again. Through practice, it becomes easy. Maharaj, what is austerity? This is a good question. We all have our ideas of what austerity is. Austerities are of many kinds. Once I saw a man who had taken a vow not to sit or lie down for 12 years. When I met him, only 5 or 6 months remained of the period. Continuous standing for so many years had made his legs swell as they do in elephantiasis. When he slept, he held himself up by a rope. Some practice the austerity of standing all night in deep water in the winter and at the same time performing jopam. Again, there's the austerity of sitting in the blazing summer sun in the center of 4 fires. Maharaj, is that what austerity means? Good gracious, no. Generally, men practice such austerities with the hope that in their next lives they will be born rich and find greater worldly enjoyments. Do they gain their wishes? God only knows. What then is real austerity? Those are not real austerities. Anyone can practice. The body is easily controlled, but it is another matter to control the mind. It is very difficult to renounce lust and greed, to give up the desire for name and fame. Real austerity is based upon these 3 principles. First, take refuge in the truth. Truth is the pillar to which you must always hold while performing any action. Second, conquer lust. Third, renounce all cravings. Observe these 3 principles. That is real austerity. And the greatest of these is to conquer lust. It has been declared in our scriptures that he who practices continence for 12 years can easily attain God. This is the most difficult task. I can tell you from my own experience that it is not possible to meditate properly unless you keep continent. The craving of lust is very subtle and extremely difficult to control. That is why spiritual aspirants always be careful in associating with the opposite sex. Through continence, a special power is stored up in the brain. If a man becomes established in continence, he will begin to see the expression of God everywhere. But remember, it is not possible to practice continence without devoting yourself to the practice of jopam. Jopam is the repetition of a mantra. Nowadays, many feel that they should devote their lives to the service of their country and mankind. Now, this was in the time when India was striving for freedom from the British, and they were having a big, very much of a nationalistic feeling. I believe this idea has taken hold of the minds of our people because of the influence of modern education. It is impossible to do any good to others unless one has already built up his own character. Those who have taken refuge in God and have received His grace can never make a false step. By their very living, they do good to mankind. Their every word and action, the very way they behave, become a source of good to all. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, first hold on to the pillar. That is, first realize God, who is the goal of human life. Know Him first. Have intense faith in Him, then go and serve others. When a man realizes God and works as His instrument, he finds peace in himself and gives peace to others. My master used to say, God is manifest in the hearts of His devotees, His children. Therefore, we must be pure in heart. His home is in the heart of the pure. He stays far away from an impure heart. When our hearts become pure and transparent, when all impressions of the past have been wiped out, then only will He enshrine Himself in our hearts. Then only will He become manifest there. The pure mind receives a clear reflection of God, for the Lord's reflection does not fall upon an unclean mind. You are all young now. Your minds are free from stain. Keep the shrine ready for Him within your heart. Take care that nothing else finds room there. Be pure and tranquil. Realize Him in this very life. Read only the sacred books. Those books which do not evoke love and faith in God are useless. They only make a man vain of his learning. My child, if you wish to make your life blessed, if you desire your own good, then dive deep into meditation. Do not float on the surface. Keep the name of the Lord and dive deep. Sri Ramakrishna was born in this age to teach mankind that dispassion is the ideal of human life. Man runs after objects of enjoyment and degrades himself to the level of the brute. If you want to make this human life worth living, take refuge in God. Give up the false happiness and seek eternal happiness. Renounce. Give up this world. Give up everything for the Lord. Make Him your own. You are our Father. You are our Mother. You are our friend. You are our everything. When we shall give up worldly enjoyments and pass our days thinking of God and contemplating Him, then only shall we make our human lives blessed and inherit true happiness. And I think we'll stop there today, and next week we will get 3 conditions are essential for the realization of God. And I have a feeling we'll finish the book next week after a very short time. So if you have the 4 Seekers of God available, we can discuss the Eternal Companion and move on to the For Seekers of God. Any questions or any comments about anything we've read today? This was a fairly intense instructions for monastics. But, Sunanda, you can ask it out loud. You can unmute yourself and ask.
I had never heard this. He said, when our hearts become pure and transparent, when all impressions of the past have been wiped out, then only will he enshrine himself in our hearts, then only will he become manifest there. When all impressions of the past have been wiped out, does that mean just, what does that mean?
Well, to my mind, it means when we stop going over the past and we keep concentrating on God. So often we get caught up in reviewing the past. And I mean, that's just a normal human thing. But I think when we start reviewing the past too much, the impressions are intensified rather than wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think there are some things in the past, if what you're reviewing are holy experiences or conversations with holy people, things that put God in your heart, then I think they're not as debilitating to the manifestation of God. But I believe that it's our human tendency to go, and back when I was 5, we don't need to do that. It truly is over. And the other thing, for my own feeling, another reason why we don't need to go over that is because in its own way, everything that happened in the past was nothing but preparation for where we are right now. Every single thing, good, bad, or indifferent, puts you where you are right now and and influence your mind to want God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I view that.
It was not a mistake, in other words, in a way. It was meant, kind of way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Now I have announcements. If no one else has any. Oh, yes.
One question I had is when discussing austerity, the 3 items that were discussed was taking what God conquered lust and remove all cravings.
Uh-huh.
So for the last part, remove cravings, how to approach when a craving comes, how to approach.
I'm sorry. The last real austerity. The third one was renounce all cravings. Okay. That takes a while. It's not going to happen immediately. From my own teacher, we renounce those cravings, but he said it's always easier to renounce if we redirect them towards God. I mean, if it's craving for chocolate, well, we can take a little time and work on it. But there are cravings that stand in your way, and there are cravings that are just small and transient. But the very fact of craving anything, your mind goes to it constantly. So if you try and substitute that thought with the thought of God, with jopam, with meditation, with jopam, I find jopam is the easiest, most accessible, and the easiest way to change a thought. So that would be what I would think. Okay, now announcements. Okay. On September 11th, the anniversary of Swamiji's first talk in the United States, which started Sisters and Brothers of America and brought down the house in Chicago, we will be celebrating our second Nuns Conference. We had a successful Nuns Conference in 2012, and considering the current state of affairs, it seemed like a time to hold a second one. We'll have nuns from San Francisco coming down, we'll have nuns from Hollywood coming up, and nuns from Santa Barbara discussing real-life issues with questions and answers. It will be informal and practical. We hope to, in the morning, talk about external world concerns. In the afternoon, internal concerns and how to deal with them. The conference will be held in the temple and online from 10 to 3:30 on Saturday the 11th. If you're coming to the temple, bring your own lunch. We'll supply beverages and snacks for breaks. Next, are we having a gospel reading next Saturday? Okay. Next Saturday, we will have a gospel reading at 5 o'clock. The Sunday lecture will be Overcoming Our Fears. And then we will have the Wednesday class will be a couple, 3 pages, the end of the Eternal Companion, and we'll go into For Seekers of God, which is Swami Shivananda. Okay? Any other comments? Right, we'll end with a chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.